Greetings from the collective. You are us. We are you. We are the collective of your higher selves. And we come to you today for a very specific reason. In spite of being such an integral part of a group such as this, you still tend to put yourself a rung, if not more than just a rung, below those energies that you have termed master. You believe in the words of those energies more than you trust yourselves. When there is gratitude to be affirmed, you turn your inner vision to those energies and you affirm your gratitude. Quite forgetting that the first expression of gratitude, if not the only expression of gratitude, should be to yourselves. When things go right, you forget that your energies have helped and supported in that result. When a desire is fulfilled, you give the entire credit to an energy or energies who you believe have heard your prayers, ignoring the fact that you committed to the fulfillment of that desire that you prayed. You prayed. And as you prayed, your energies changed and evolved and gathered to a vibratory level that brought about that fulfillment. And so we come today. We step into the shoes of those energies that you call master. And we speak to you like you have been spoken to many, many times before. We speak to you, the collective of your higher selves. We speak to you to remind you that in the journey of evolution, it is you who stands ahead of the master. The master does not lead you into evolution. The master supports you by sometimes standing shoulder to shoulder with you, and sometimes standing behind you, lest you might tire or weaken and need to rest. But all of this you forget. And you do forget. Because the essence of what we tell you, the essence of this deep truth, you already know. But you choose, you voluntarily, willfully choose to belittle yourself in some way or the other, to negate who you are to some degree. And as long as this continues, you shall not be able to set yourselves free from the strong karmic templates that are at present challenging you, often refusing to budge, often refusing to weaken, even in the face of your strength. And this is because your strength is not at its 100%. We are not asking you to dishonor and disrespect those energies that support you. Far from that. We are asking you to recognize that the support, the guidance that those energies bring forth would be a sheer waste of effort were you not committed, were you not receptive, were you not committed to shift, transmutation, evolution. When you give all or most of the credit to a master or masters and give little or no credit to yourself, you in some way dishonor their efforts to empower you. Master energies are not desirous of your awe, of your adoration, of your reverence. They are desirous of your self-respect, self-honor, self-worth. The deeper your self-honor, the stronger your self-worth, the more receptive you are, the more receptive you can be to guidance from those master energies. Each time you look upwards, we are not here to tell you if that direction is right or wrong. Each time you look upwards and say thank you, or please help me, believing that those master energies are more vital, are more significant, are more important to the universe and for the universe than you are, than your energies are. Each time you do this, you dishonor their effort. And with this dishonor, you receive less than complete guidance. You receive less than complete support, not because the master energies are not guiding you completely or not supporting you completely, but because you are not receiving completely, because your lack of self-honor places a filter between you and the master energies. Many, many, many long years ago, when this one, whom you called Ellaeenah, stepped very firmly onto her path of growth, the master energies that she calls JadeFire told her much the same thing that we are telling you today. And in her instant acceptance of this truth, in her utter lack of resistance, she calls herself Ellaeenah JadeFire, putting herself in front, ahead of the master energy, not out of vanity or boastfulness or empty pride, but because the truth of who she is and how the master energies can help her hit home for her in that instant. And so now, even as she says a thank you to the master energies, she never fails to say thank you to herself. Even as she prays for strength to the master energies, she never forgets to pray to herself and say, I trust you in this moment. I trust you. We have talked so much of the karmic templates. Templates like fear, terror, suspicion, distrust, lack of truth, judgmentalism, condemnation, indifference. All of these and so many more. These karmic templates do not exist outside of you. They are part of your energy. The karmic templates live within you. They are part of your cellular structure. And each time you put yourself a rung or more lower than not another human being, but even those master energies, the karmic templates become stronger, more hardened. You put your masters ahead or higher, whichever word you wish to use, because you fear that you are not good enough. You distrust yourself. You doubt who you really are. You are impatient with yourself. You allow worry to take over, and you know, even as you are worrying, you know that things shall be all right, but you are scared to stop worrying. You are concerned that if you should stop being worried, maybe you shall come across as overconfident and therefore shall be punished. It is so much easier for you to say, oh, I shall do this because JadeFire has asked me to do this. Oh, I shall chant because the Maha Avatar Babaji has asked me to chant. Oh, I shall stop eating this because the Sai Baba has asked me to stop eating this. Oh, I shall visit the church because Mother Mary has asked me to visit the church. What has happened to your free will choice? If you wish to give that up, tell the universe, I wish to have no free will choice. But then be completely ready for the consequences. But if you are not going to say this to the universe, if you wish to continue enjoying the thrill, the strength, the bravery of your free will choices, then exercise them. We are the collective. And now once again you shall sit back and say, oh, that was my higher self. That was not me. But who is this higher self? Who are we? You have chosen to give this term higher self. You have chosen this term. We have not. In fact, we prefer the term unembodied self, whereas you are the embodied self. We prefer that term because it does not put us higher than you. We are merely your spirit energies that are unembodied. We are you, but you consider yourself to be only that minuscule part that is embodied. And yes, if you truly consider that you as the authentic self are this minuscule part that is embodied, then maybe you are right. You are small, you are weak, you are little, you are insignificant. Because this part that is embodied is so minuscule. If you wish to give us a label, instead of higher self, why don't you use the word larger self? In that you will remember that this is the larger part of you. That this is not the larger part of you. That is the larger part of you. And because it is larger, it is more effective, has more power, has more potential, has more reach, has greater understanding, can absorb more, can receive more. We are not higher than you. You are not lower than us. But because this part of you that is unembodied is unembodied, that is why the vibrations are higher than the vibrations of that part that is embodied. And this is because it is natural. It is as per nature. It has nothing to do with the fact that we are more or less important than you. As a plan of nature, that part that becomes embodied is covered by a shell of energy filters. This shell of energy filters is vitally important. It holds that part of spirit, however minuscule it might be, it holds that part of spirit within a structure. Spirit, by its very nature, is free-flowing, expansive. It stretches any and everywhere simultaneously. On earth, the body that lives necessarily by an act of nature needs a structure, a solidity. That part of spirit that is embodied needs something to hold it in place so that it cannot shift and move as it is naturally wont to do. This shell of filters, due to this act of nature, absorbs some of the frequencies into itself, so that the shell of filters also has a vibration that is entirely dependent upon that embodied minuscule part. As the vibrations of that embodied minuscule part begin to change, the shell of filters shall also correspondingly rise in its vibratory frequency. Due to this necessity, the embodied part has a vibration that is lower than the unembodied part. And that is why the spiritualists and the masters of olden times coined the term higher self. They wished to draw your attention to the fact that the unembodied part has a higher frequency range. But they did not mean that it was more important than you, that you were less significant. And they wished to draw your attention to the higher frequencies for one reason and one reason alone. And that is, you can draw upon the font of this vibration whenever you desire. And because its vibratory level is higher, it shall empower you. But over the course of time, your self-negation, your self-denial, your lack of self-worth has made you believe that the higher self is this holy, sacred being that is, oh, so much more powerful and so much more spiritual and so much more expanded than you. And of course it is expanded. It doesn't have a shell of filters. So of course it is expanded. It takes its natural flowing state. Take 10 liters of water and just allow it to flow. It shall cover a very big area of the ground where it is poured onto. Take 10 liters of water and put it in a can that can hold 10 liters. And you shall look at that can and say, Oh, that is so small. And look at this water, so expanded, so free flowing. It's 10 liters of water, contained and not contained. But there is one difference. That water that is now upon the ground, flowing wherever it desires to, cannot quench your thirst. But that water that is in the can quench your thirst. Only the embodied part of you, only the embodied part of you can take you further upon your journey of evolution. What do we, as this so-called higher self, what do we do then? As the embodied part transforms, evolves, the higher self feeds it with the spiritual nourishment it needs. You fed your newborn baby mother's milk and then baby food and then a little soft fruit, softened grain, and then proceeded to add more taste, more flavor. And you did that as the baby grew. The food you gave it changed. Initially, it was just a little bit of suckling on the mother's milk. And then it became a plateful of food. The higher self provides you with the spiritual nourishment that you need, the right amount, the right kind, that is most appropriate for you at every moment in time. And that is the role we play. We neither pull you back, nor do we push you or pull you towards evolution. We are your supply chain. That is all. And just as you did not grow the fruit that your little toddler ate, that your child ate, that your teenager ate, but the fruits and the vegetables and the grains came from farmers and other suppliers. Our supply too comes from other suppliers. You call these master energies. We are the supply chain. The master energies, the so-called higher selves, we are the supply chain. You are the only one that can quench your thirst. Whether your thirst is for power, for money, for spiritual growth, for enlightenment, for illumination, for love. We cannot do that. We cannot do that. And you might be saddened to hear this vital truth. Nor can your masters. Nor can your masters. They can take nothing away from your life. And they can add nothing to your life. So how does this supply chain work? So think of these master energies as the growers, the providers, the breeders. They have in abundance. And as we require it as the collective, we take from them. And why do we require it? In order to give it to you. So we take from them and we give it to you. And if you receive this, if you receive what we give you, if you receive what we give you that has come from these growers and breeders, those you love so much and call them master, if you receive what this supply chain gives to you, if you receive it in full, you get the answers that you seek. You get the fulfillment that you have prayed for. You get an end to the suffering that you asked for. But it is because you received it. The supply chain merely supplied it. The farmer who may be situated thousands of miles from you, whom you do not even know, he or she is not responsible for the fruit, whether you eat it, you digest it, or you allow it to rot. He or she is not responsible whether you are selfishly eating the fruit alone, or whether you choose to share it with those who are hungry as well. You are responsible. Do you now understand free will choice? You have always been responsible. Even when all of you was unembodied, when there was no state like the higher self, when all of you was unembodied, and you chose to be in embodiment, even then, you had the choice of family, of partner, of spouse, of child, whether you would have children or you would not bear children, where you would be born, to whom you would be born, to which family, to which religion or no religion. You had the choice. You were supplied. Once again, it's a supply chain. You were supplied with information from your Akashic records. You were supplied with guidance. You were supplied with support and help and suggestion. But you had the final choice. And you still have the final choice. And now that final choice rests with the embodied self. That part that is not embodied, that you might choose to call the higher self, that part becomes a part of the supply chain. Until as long as you do not grow into this wisdom, till as long as you worship your masters and deny yourselves that same worship, the karmic templates that lie within you, within every cell in your body, shall not only not be eliminated, but shall get stronger. When you are spoken to, when you are guided, you want to know which master has spoken, which master has given you the guidance, the suggestion, the advice. When you are now tempted to ask that question, before those words leave your mouth, answer the question yourself. I am the master who gave me this suggestion, this guidance, this advice, this prayer, this chant. I am the master. And in that statement is self-honor. You bow down deep and low to those who are masters, to those who are prophets, even to living masters. You bow down deep and low. And we have no quarrel with that. Touching the feet of someone is a wonderful exercise in spirit exchange. Because when you touch their feet, the palms of your hands receive the energies that are emitted from their feet. You could just as well touch their palms, but if in respect you wish to bow and touch their feet, we have no quarrel with that. But that action is not an action that puts you lower than the one you have respected. That action puts you at the same level, because if it did not put you at the same level, you would not be able to accept the energies that they emit. You would not be able to receive the energies that they emit and take them through your palms, your fingertips into you. We have no quarrel with your acts of respect and honor. But when those acts of respect and honor perpetuate the belief that the other is better than, more powerful than, higher than, more spiritual than, more holy than you, then that action which you call an action of honor is in fact the greatest action of dishonor for self that you could commit. And why is this so important for you to know? Not only because we wish you to know who you are, but because these acts of dishonor shall make your karmic templates into plates of steel. (2023, 24, 25) are years when the karmic templates must be entirely released, or released to a very large extent. You may not even know this, but in the last 5 years, humanity has evolved over 10 times. You have not been aware of this. You have not been aware that the human race has stepped very firmly already into the 5th dimension. You're not aware of this. And may we tell you why you are not aware? Because you are so focused in criticizing and judging those whose faults you find every day, several times a day. You are so focused on finding fault, so focused on judging, so focused on sneering comments that you're not even aware that the same evolution that has been spoken of for over 2 years to you has been moving ahead in leaps and bounds. And do you know who is left behind? You are. You are left behind. Does that give your ego a bit of a knock? We truly hope it does. Your everyday criticism, judgment, blame has resulted in you being left behind. And isn't that strange? To be a part of a group like this that has within its fold forerunners, heralds of this process of evolution. The divine plan, the cosmic plan, cannot wait for you, cannot shift for you. It shall take place with or without you. It shall take place. And one of the first tasks that the higher selves, larger selves, unembodied parts of selves, the first task that we as the collective have to perform is to shake loose the karmic templates. We cannot remove them for you. We cannot liberate you from them. We cannot even weaken them for you. But we have been entrusted to shake them loose. So visualize, for the sake of imagination, templates, several in each cell, being held tight to the cell walls by little steel wires. We shall cut those wires. When the templates are not held tight, the work that you do to liberate them shall make it easier for you to liberate them. But our work is a double-edged sword. For if you do not liberate them, these loose templates shall begin to bang against each other violently. You have already been informed of how chaos takes place when energies collide. Chaos is good when there is obduracy, obstinacy, resistance. Chaos is good. It forces change. Forces change. But we question you. It is your free will choice. Would you prefer to move through the turbulence of chaos? Or would you rather make a self-willed, conscious decision which you shall not budge from? to stop as many as you can, if not all, ego-based patterns. Fear, worry, anxiety, stress, condemnation, blame, abuse, violence, control, domination, indecision, procrastination, distrust, dishonesty, judgment, criticism, gossip, jealousy. Do we need to name more? We know you are going to ask us. Tell us how. Remember, we are the supply chain. Answers have been given to you. Information has been consistent and constant in coming to you. What have you done with the fruit that the farmer has painstakingly grown for you? Have you allowed the food to rot? Have you eaten the fruit selfishly? Have you shared the proceeds with all? Each one is your free will choice. We judge none. The farmer does not judge you for what you do to the produce once the produce comes to you. As the karmic templates are set loose, and they shall be set loose within the confines of the cellular wall. They shall not come out of the confines of the cellular wall, otherwise your physical bodies would become very, 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 very sick. They shall be set loose within the confines of the cellular walls. And this shall be done to all over the world. And certain energy emissions will take place, are already taking place without your awareness. And these energy emissions are supported by planetary movements. And these planetary movements and the energy emissions shall result in different changes, not all of which may seem pleasant or desirable to you. We accept that. And some of these undesirable changes will be, for example, extreme weather conditions, extreme heat, and sometimes extreme cold. Fire and water shall play an even larger role in the earth's shifting. So you have to control, pay attention to the fire and water elements within you as well. Learn more about the foods you eat. Learn how they align or encourage fire, align with or encourage water. Learn about the elements within your bodies, because the elements on earth are going to be a little askew for a temporary period of time. economic growth shall suffer. You are already seeing that. You have been told, you have been informed repeatedly. And we are only reiterating this. There is going to be poor economic growth. And there is a huge spiritual function that this poor economic growth shall perform. Poor economic growth shall very directly impinge upon the karmic templates of need, of greed, of selfishness, of self-centeredness, of control, of domination, of power. What shall be your free will choice? Will you give to another? And when you give, will you ensure that you get it back in some way or the other? Or will you be able to say, this is my joyous gift to you. Share this gift with me. I share it with you. And you share it again with others. Will you be able to say that? Poor economic growth is going to be a huge test for the human race. There shall be untold levels of innovation, technological innovations, medical innovation. All innovation serves one purpose. It serves the purpose of helping humanity. There is no innovation that has not been inspired by the unembodied self, who has been inspired by divine mind. There is no innovation that has not thus been inspired. But how will you, the end user in this supply chain, how will you use this inspiration? Only you can answer that. Only you can answer that. Will new innovation make you scared? Make you instantly believe in the worst? The karmic templates shall hit each other and collide with each other with great gusto. Will you view the innovations with delight, with enthusiasm, with eagerness? How can I use this to improve my life and the lives of those around me? And do not be concerned with how your neighbor is using that innovation. That is not your concern. Your free will is your free will, not theirs. We ask you the question, how shall you use the innovation? With every change that takes place, you are the only one responsible for chaos or clarity. Because the karmic templates lie within your cells. Do not perturb yourself. Do not distract yourself with the karmic templates lying within the cells of your neighbor. That distraction is strengthening your karmic templates. Education shall shift. Shall shift in a very positive direction. Children shall be educated in the art of service and solving problems. At present, they are being pushed into living in the past and fearing the present. Education shall shift. There shall be no other option left. The problems of the world shall demand solutions, and children will be taught at a young age to solve problems so that they make life better for themselves and for those around them. Today, what your world needs more than anything else are problem solvers. There are more naysayers in your world today. Those that instantly turn to pessimism, to finding fault, to criticizing, to say it will never work. How about saying, I can make it work? And to help you, to help your karmic templates either release their energies entirely or collide with each other. There are already in place many cosmic messengers of chaos. Oh, you have judged many of them already, strengthening your karmic templates very effectively. And more such cosmic messengers of chaos shall come. Not all have slid into their positions as yet. Some are still waiting. They are waiting for the nudge that shall be given to them by their unembodied self. And not all shall play global roles or national roles. Some shall play very small roles. A role in a family, a role in a community, a role in an office. Some roles are small and some are big, but all are equally important. Judge them if you must. Your karmic templates shall collide even stronger. Refuse to recognize them if you wish. Your karmic templates shall collide even stronger. None of this will happen overnight. It shall take years to be completed, far more than 3 years. But the first 3 years that have already started shall appear to be more turbulent, because you are not used to living big, because you are not used to living consciously. As you learn to live big, as you learn to recognize the messengers for who they are, as you learn to value yourself and therefore value every single other person, the changes that shall come, even though they may be as potent as the changes in the first 3 years, shall not be turbulent for you. Because as you learn to be the spirit you are, the karmic templates within your cells shall become weaker and finally disappear. The key word for everyone is cooperation. Personal, family, community, society, country, world. Cooperation. Without that, the karmic templates shall collide with great energy. Remember, in those times when you pray, remember, you are praying only to a supply chain. Remember to pray to yourself. Pray to yourself to become expanded, to become conscious, to become receptive, to be open to change. Pray to yourself that you stop abusing others. Stop condemning them. Stop finding fault with them. Because if you don't do this, praying to the supply chain shall help you but little. Share this. Share this channeling. The more people who know, the more shall awaken, and they in turn shall awaken many more. And thus the karmic templates shall eventually fade away into nothingness. But the first step can and only be the conscious development of self-honor. We are you. You are us. Tonight you have heard yourself speak. You have spoken the words that you already know. You have heard the words that you already know. You have spoken to yourself. None other has spoken to you tonight.